#1 in Southern California. Channel 7, KABC TV, Los Angeles. Now, the Southland's leading news, Eyewitness News, at 6.
Rodeo Drive in downtown Beverly Hills was the place to be today as art gallery owner David Spellerberg handed out his public nuisance medals and paraded 100 classic Rolls Royces along the world-famous street. Spellerberg continues to fight Beverly Hills Hall after 1 year of being sued by the city for persisting in illegally parking his Rolls outside the gallery. Spellerberg has fought back in court, paying $13,000 in fines and battling a restraining order won by the city. Now the official public nuisance of Beverly Hills is spending $8,000 a month to hire different chauffeurs to park his 5 Rolls outside the gallery 6 days a week. Only in Beverly Hills. Mark?
Now, the #1 primetime news hour in Los Angeles. Channel 5 News at 10. Larry McCormick, Minerva Perez, Ed Arnold with sports, and the entire award-winning Channel 5 news team.
And a Beverly Hills art dealer took advantage of April Fool's Day today to protest all the tickets he's received for parking his Rolls Royce illegally. He declared himself a public nuisance and took to the street, Rodeo Drive, that is. Warren Wilson was there.
And then little fanfare.
This was no April Fool's Day joke. Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills had everything a tourist could dream of on this April 1st.
I think that it's very important people come to Rodeo Drive that they have a chance to see some glitter and glamour.
There was glitter aplenty. 50 Rolls Royces representing some $10 million parked on one of the world's richest streets.
This beautiful lady today was very kind to bring her magnificent Rolls Royce here to be a part of the celebration. And for doing that, we're going to decorate her with an official Rodeo Drive City of Beverly Hills Public Nuisance Medal.
She also enhanced the economy of this world-famous showcase. Her male companion purchased her a couple of tokens to take home.
He just bought it, and the ring also.
He's become public nuisance #1 in Beverly Hills. 42-year-old art dealer David Spellerberg. Or is he #1?
What do you think, fellas? I think he's a jerk.
I'm a friend of David's, and I think he's doing something great today.
We are trying to be a public nuisance. Yeah, good publicity.
It was an anniversary celebration. Cake, champagne, and pretty faces. The bubbles were served to his friends and art patrons. Public nuisance balloons decorated meters as hundreds of tourists spent the day watching some of the most spectacular automobiles on wheels. No one seemed to mind these nuisances on Rodeo, including the meter reader.
How much a parking meter?
Yeah.
The meter is $13.
$13 is all?
Mm-hmm.
And how many have you ridden today?
For the course of my day since I started, I have no idea.
No idea, but there were plenty of $13 tickets given out. Police had to wait it out, trapped in traffic on this beautiful day on Rodeo. Some say this could only happen here.
Yeah, only in Beverly Hills.
And it may happen again next year. Warren Wilson, Channel 5 News at 10.
From KTTV Los Angeles, this is Fox News.
From horseshoes to horsepower, Beverly Hills style. A self-proclaimed public nuisance and a few friends line Rodeo Drive today with more than $12 million worth of Rolls Royces. Now, what's even more amazing about all this, they were simply trying to prove a point and to reserve a parking space. Amy Atkins reports on a Go Fight City Hall story that, well, could have only happened in Beverly Hills.
David Spellerberg has found perhaps the world's most extravagant way to avoid a parking ticket and keep a parking place on the world's most expensive street.
I finally was put under a court order where I had to move my car 500 feet and I couldn't come back for 4 hours. So in order to beat the court order, I have 5 Rolls Royces and I've got 2 full-time chauffeurs, and we literally rotate Rolls Royces out here every hour on the hour, 6 days a week.
It all started last year when Spellerberg was branded a public nuisance for feeding the 1-hour meter. But Spellerberg was determined to keep the spot in front of his art gallery, so he kept the rolls rolling. In celebration today, there were more Rolls Royces on the street than sequins on a Bob Mackie gown.
I love America. Only in America you see about 55 Rolls parked at once. In Russia, forget about it.
Gary Wales kept his Rolls parked as the hours ticked away on his Rolex.
I'm going to let it sit here for about another 3 or 4. I've already had 2 tickets. That's fine. I can afford them. I can afford the car. I can afford the tickets.
It's just as I pictured it. Rodeo Drive.
And Rolls Royces?
Rolls Royces and everything. I'm really impressed. I think I should have brought my Rolls Royce, though, so I would have at least fit in. I feel kind of bad in my Volkswagen.
And in typical Rodeo Drive fashion, a perfume was launched, aptly called Public Nuisance. Beverly Hills cops were not impressed. What do you think of all this?
It's interesting.
I guess in covering this public nuisance, we became part of it because our Ford van got a ticket too. Only in Beverly Hills. Amy Atkins, Fox News.
Well, I guess if you can't do it, you do it in style, right?
I wonder if she's going to have to pay for that ticket.
We'll find out.
Oberman Championship Highlights, Monday at 8:15.
Good evening. Welcome to Channel 2 Action News Weekend Report. I'm Jose Sanders.
I'm Penny Griego.
He's back. We're not talking about some horror show creep. We're talking about real trouble. Beverly Hills' #1 nuisance, the kind of guy who'd park a Rolls Royce almost anywhere. In fact, Rolls Royces, Rolls Royce? Rolls Royceum? Well, a lot of big cars parked everywhere you looked on Rodeo Drive today. Symbol of the establishment luxury shimmered in a very civil kind of civil disobedience, a protest against Beverly Hills prosecution of David Spellerberg.
Parking your car out in front, especially if it's a Rolls Royce, and especially since it's Beverly Hills, I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's certainly done more to help the city than to hinder it.
Now, he's the one who parked the Rolls in front of his business. He arrived in fine style for a man branded as a public nuisance. He also used his semi-grand occasion to introduce a new Rodeo Drive cologne. It's called Public Nuisance, which comes bottled in a shoe polish bottle.
Don't forget to set your clock forward 1 hour tonight.
Bill Lagatuta, June Thompson, Christopher Nance, weather, and Brett Lewis, sports. Channel 4 News, Nightside, #1 in Southern California.
In Beverly Hills, shoppers got an April Fool's surprise courtesy of a gallery owner with a taste for Rolls Royces. Today, David Spellerberg, not Spielberg, Spellerberg, lined up Rolls Royces up and down the block. He owns a local art gallery and jokingly calls himself a public nuisance. It's prompted by a dispute over his practice of parking his own Rolls Royce in front of his shop all day, every day. 1 year and 1,000 parking tickets later, he's still wheeling and dealing. And I guess he can afford to do so, right?